Perhaps right now, as you are sitting quietly, a very subtle part of the mind is still moving silently, not loudly, not clearly, yet enough to pull your attention away from the present moment, as if there were a small current whispering that there is something else that needs attention. That current is not a mistake or a lack of willpower, but a mechanism repeated over time, where the nervous system has learned to orient toward situation, toward anticipation, toward the sense that something is about to happen or something needs to be done. And precisely because it is so normal and familiar, it is rarely recognized directly. I am Tang from the Lotuszentan channel. Please watch until the end of this video because I will share and explore together the layers of awareness hidden beneath the shell of vague restlessness and desire. Most of our lives pass in a state of being led by this invisible pull, where the mind is constantly projecting forward, pulling away, getting stuck, or about to attain something while the body is still there, getting feet on the ground, yet something feels off. When attention is pulled in this way, we often mistake the continuous movement of the mind for healthy life motivation, mistake the urge to do something useful for aliveness, without realizing that clinging to this current is quietly creating tension, fatigue, and a sense of never being enough. If you slow down enough, you can observe closely and recognize that this pull is also just a clear thought that was previously a vague bodily sensation, a very slight restlessness, a pressure, or a nameless urge pushing you away from the present moment. This is where we begin, not by trying to eliminate that pull, but while learning to look directly at it, because anything not clearly seen continues to control us from behind the senses. You do not need to change habits, you do not need to control thoughts, and you do not need to force yourself into complete stillness, but simply to observe that there is an operating current within consciousness, one that often shapes how you feel, react, and choose. When the light of awareness begins to touch that current, even very lightly, something important has already happened. Not because you have achieved something special, but because for the first time, that familiar invisible pull has been brought into the light. Please leave a like, a share, and a comment, and we will continue to go deeper into the hidden corners of the mind that are rarely noticed. And from this very point, from the moment of recognizing without intervention, the journey of deeper observation from the breath to the whole body and mind truly begins. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. You begin to recognize the subtle pull of the mind flowing from past to future. The next thing that becomes apparent is the rise and fall of thoughts as operation settles in the body and mind, and emotional energy continuously shift along with those thoughts. This stream of energy is not loud and has no clear form, yet it affects every breath. It appears as very subtle restlessness in the chest or belly, or as the urge to stop or speed up each unfolding moment in order to move toward something else. A part of this operating current is called dopamine, not as pleasure or joy, but as a predictive signal, a biological whisper to the nervous system saying move toward that, prepare to act. There is something noteworthy over there. What is important to see here is that dopamine does not push you with commands, but with suggestion so subtle that if you are not slow and aware enough, you will assume that the decision that just appeared was yours, rather than the result of an energetic current that has just shifted direction. At this point, shifts of attention or focus begin to reveal themselves more clearly, not as random interruptions, but as turning points where the energy stream is pulled aside, perhaps by a sound, a sudden thought, a slight discomfort, or even by the thought, am I meditating well or not? Each such interruption carries an invitation to act, however descriptive, and if you look closely, you will see that what is being invited is not always pleasure, but often an escape from a very mild discomfort, a flight from emptiness, or an avoidance of the feeling that nothing special is happening. Where the energy stream is diverted by these interruptions, body and mind usually respond almost simultaneously. Posture shift, breathing changes, attention leaves the present sensation, and the familiar chain of actions begins to operate on its own without needing your command. However, when you observe closely enough, you may notice that between the moment of energy shift, direction, and actual action, there is always a very brief, very fractal gap where everything is still open and not yet locked into reflex. This brief gap is often overlooked because it is not dramatic, not intense, and does not offer a clear reward. Yet precisely for this reason it becomes a silent doorway out of unconscious being led. In this part, you do not need to hold on to that gap or try to prolong it, because any effort will simply become another form of interruption. But only to continue recognizing that whenever energy changes direction, there is always a tiny moment where you are seeing, not yet acting, and that very seeing, however brief and unstable, has already begun to change the relationship between you and the inner operating current, not through control but through presence. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Through each slow, gentle, and deep breath, you observe body and mind, and you will recognize that habits as well. As you become more familiar with recognizing the energy stream shifting direction and the subtle interruptions occurring in body and mind, what begins to reveal itself is not a special state, but a very ordinary space where there is nothing that needs to be done immediately. This space is not emptiness or numbness, but an open moment where the impulse has arisen while the old reflex has not yet closed, needing time to stop and transition into a new impulse. And precisely within this small gap, you may sense a broader and calmer quality of awareness quietly present. If you observe carefully, you will see that the ego, which is often felt as I am deciding according to my preferences or desires, usually appears only afterward, like a story woven in that moment to explain a movement that has already occurred along the old thought patterns of an energy stream that was released earlier, rather than as a controller standing at the front. When the light of awareness shines into this process, not to expose or destroy the ego, but simply to see how it operates, the ego begins to lose its central position, not because it is opposed, but because it is no longer unconsciously identified with in the old way, in the space before reflex. You can begin to recognize that thoughts, sensations, desires, and even intentions to act are all phenomena that arise and dissolve within the same field of energetic awareness, and we are surfing on that energy stream without rigid, judgmental reactions, and when judgment stops, there is no one there at all. This seeing does not make you passive or unmotivated, but rather releases energy from tensions of always needing to become someone, achieve something, or chase an image or a stream of thoughts to which you bind yourself. In order to feel complete, it is precisely here that freedom does not appear as an achievement, but as a return, where body and mind operate more harmoniously because they are no longer stretched by impulses that demand immediate reaction. When you bring this recognizing into daily life, into very small moments such as waiting, working, scrolling a screen, or standing before a familiar choice, you may notice that the space before reflex is always present, even if only for a brief instant. Let us continue practicing attention to the breath and observing the changes in both body and mind. Inhale gently, follow the breath as it flows through your nose. Feel your chest and reach down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Through each breath, we recognize that emotions come and go for reasons, and we move toward wiser choices that are more suitable for our life. When passion is observed and guided properly, it becomes a quiet source of energy that helps initiate action without forcing yourself through rigid discipline aimed at cultivating long-term life values. A healthy stream of passions helps the brain learn from very small progress, making training work or meditation sustainable rather than quickly exhausting. We need to avoid overusing intense stimulation that lead to rapid boredom and instead orient toward regulated passion, allowing concentration to become deep and stable, creating balance, clear inner motivation without being constantly pulled by blind urges. When unconsciously drawn into all pleasurable habits, the mind continuously chases stimulation, making it difficult to stay with any experience long enough to feel its depth. Overuse motivation raises the threshold of excitement, causing ordinary aspects of life to gradually feel bland and meaningless. Habitual dependence on constant change or fast, fleeting excitement weakens the capacity for concentration because the brain becomes accustomed to constant shifting rather than sustained attention, and decisions are often made based on immediate wanting rather than long-term consideration. Frequent, rapid emotional shifts or limited ability to concentrate make the mind easily unstable, leading to restlessness, discomfort, and a persistent sense that something is missing without knowing why. Constantly chasing excitement exhausts the nervous system, increases boredom, and makes it easy to fall into mental burnout even without excessive work. Quickly achieve rewards that easily divert attention make forming good habits difficult because the brain becomes accustomed to fast rewards and urgency rather than gradual process. Without observing excitement, you may confuse genuine motivation with avoidance, causing actions to become reflexive rather than chosen. With a racing heart and a tendency to act recklessly without consideration, the inertial pull toward familiar pleasures reduces the ability to tolerate the necessary discomfort for growth, making it easier to give up when challenges arise. If pleasure leads life without awareness, people gradually lose the ability to sense simple peace because the mind is always searching for something ahead. When we practice meditation, not to become someone else, but to gradually realize that we are simply being carried along by a stream of experiences arising and passing away in each moment. When awareness is sustained long enough, we begin to clearly see that all sensations, thoughts, and desires come and go following habitual pressures seeking patterns. Meditation brings the light of awareness directly onto the ego, not to destroy it, but to allow it to dissolve on its own when it is no longer nourished by identification with our emotions. In this pure observation, the self is no longer the controlling center, but merely a phenomenon arising within a broader field of awareness. Each time you recognize that space, the nervous system learns that not very impulse needs immediate action, and not very uncomfortable sensation must be instantly moved or replaced by some impulsive behavior. And through this quiet relearning, life does not become slow or colorless, but begins to carry a new depth, where presence becomes the foundation of all movement, and you are no longer swept away by the very forces that once controlled you. Awareness does not erase personal life, but replaces it in its proper position as a temporary expression within the vast flow of impermanence. When the rigid self-image is no longer clung to, life energy becomes soft, free, and aligned with the natural rhythm of the universe. And this is precisely in this dissolution that the human being does not disappear, but for the first time truly touches the vast, silent, and vibrant essence of oneself and of the universe. The journey in the game of the breath will become more and more fascinating if you truly cherish it. This practice, just like a habit, is a key to unlocking every doorway within your body and mind. So keep watching and keep practicing with me in this video and the ones to come. If you have any thoughts or reflections, feel free to leave a comment below. And if this video helped or inspired you, please click like, subscribe, and share with others. Thank you.